You may have noticed over the weekend, Australian Open organisers have been slammed for their handling of the situation that saw spectators ordered to remove items asking, "Where is Peng Shuai?" Tennis Australia stood by what many are labelling a heavy-handed decision after a video emerged on the weekend of security and police requesting a fan at Melbourne Park remove her shirt, highlighting the Chinese tennis player's plight. Joining me now live is Peng Shuai activist Max Mock. Max, thanks so much for your time. You were one of these activists that were speaking to police over the weekend. Is that correct? What happened?
Thank you for having me. Yes, I was. So basically, Friday, I think it was, me and a couple of other activist friends of mine, we went into the Australian Open to a match where Chinese player Wang Qiang was playing. And just in the court alone, we saw like Chinese flags or multiple Chinese flags on the court. And then so we decided to pull out where is Peng Shuai banner because, I mean, if they're allowed to pull out the Chinese flag, and then we should be allowed to put up our where's Peng Shuai banner. And so we did that. And for the entire duration of the match, nobody said anything. Nobody came up to us. Nobody said anything. It was only until after, like 10 minutes after the match ended, that the security basically looked for us on the premises of the Australian Open, and they confiscated the banner. So he held it in his hand, and then he also demanded that my friend, the woman in the video showing, to take off her shirt, basically, just because he said that no shirts with political messages are allowed at the Australian Open. So basically, he wanted everything to be taken off like immediately. So that was what happened. Chaos ensued, and we just had to talk to the security for like 20 minutes.
Okay, well, Max, you were allowed to watch the match. It does, I mean, from the footage we've seen, it does certainly look heavy-handed, but it's not like you were ejected from the venue. What's the thing that bothers you about what occurred the most? That Chinese flags are allowed to be flown, you weren't allowed to wear these T-shirts. Are you making a political statement, or is it a humanitarian statement, and does the difference matter?
I've made many statements, and other activist friends of mine also involved in this campaign has made many statements. But this campaign alone at the Australian Open, at the Where's Peng Shuai movement, is only solely about the question of where's Peng Shuai, like what happened to her, and why she's still not allowed to speak freely to media in the West.
Yeah, indeed. What are your concerns? I mean, when you watch the tennis, it is heavily branded by Chinese sponsorship, separate companies, of course, not necessarily, state-run companies. Are you uncomfortable with the level of sponsorship of the Australian Open coming from China?
Oh, extremely, yeah. So the entirety of the Australian Open, I have a very bad impression on it, obviously. It starts from the literal brand deals. We've seen Chinese state-owned companies sponsoring the event. And, well, one of the stories that the security guard said as well was that certain people at the Australian Open reported this as a sort of sensitive political message to the Australian Open authorities. And then the Australian Open authorities agreed with him. Well, I mean, they must have agreed with him. Why else would they do it?
So, Max, can I just quickly ask about what you suspect may have gone on here? So you're allowed to sit and watch the match in these T-shirts. No one from security came and ejected you. What do you suspect happened there? That the event organisers itself complained to security, other spectators? Were you featuring on the television broadcast? What was it?
At this point, it's speculation, right? But there are two possibilities. Like, the possibility that I seem to think is likely is that it's been flagged. The Peng Shuai situation, talking against China in general, it's been flagged by the Australian Open and Tennis Australia authorities the moment, even before we went there. Like, simply because of the sheer volume of Chinese sponsorships they've got. So they censored themselves prior even. So when they saw the messages, so they saw the flags pop up, they just came up to us. And then another possibility is that I think it's fair to use the term Chinese nationalists at the Tennis Australia event. They might have reported it to the authorities, and they might have demanded the authorities to put it off. Yeah.
Okay. Max, thanks so much for your time. I appreciate it. It's certainly an important issue that we will be following, the plight of Peng Shuai.